Ladies, gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, I'm Stank84 and welcome to the 2023 Top 10 Special. Yes, it is that time of the year again. We are back with another Top 10 of my personal picks. And for the first time, all 10 games on this list came out this year. Unlike the previous years where we've had to bend the rules slightly to make a top 10 list, this year there is no such need. Now, when I've been picking this, let's just say it wasn't as easy as I thought it was going to be. At one stage, I had my top 10 picked out, nice and easy, we were done. But over the past week or so, 2 weeks say, there's been several games released that have changed the look of my top 10. And I must admit, some of the games on here may be a bit of a surprise. Now, I know there are AAA games that are out that will not be on this list, and that is because I have not played them. So, yes, obviously, if I've not played a game, I can't put it on this list. So, if you're wondering why a game isn't on the list, well, either I just preferred a different one, or I haven't played it. So, yeah, my list originally, the short list that I had, was around 15, 16 games. Out of all the ones I have played this year, there was about 15 or 16 that could have made the top 10. Unfortunately, yes, because it's a top 10, some of them had to be cut, and I've spent the last 5 or 6 hours, maybe longer, going over pros and cons of each game. Does it deserve to be higher than another game, or is there something just missing? And okay, I'm going to say the 5 or 6 that haven't made it, plus probably the bottom 5, could have been anywhere in that section. They were just moving around here, there, and everywhere. The top 5, though, have more or less stayed around the area. Maybe 1 or 2 of them have dropped lower down, but they've always been in the top 10. But it's just where they were. And as I say, yeah, they just moved around a bit. But I think I've finally settled on them. And the biggest thing that put a game for me above another is actually how much I enjoyed playing it. Even if I've only done like one video on it, but I may have put a lot of time into it off camera. That is the final thing that decided the order this is in. So I've been blabbering now for a couple of minutes. I know yous are all waiting to hear. So without any further ado, let's get in to the 2023 Top 10. So, of course, starting in at number 10, we have Stray Gods, the musical masterpiece and a very enjoyable game. Now, this could have, as I said earlier, been higher up, but just something didn't sit with me regarding this. It was enjoyable, but I just didn't get the feel that I wanted to go through it again. I finished off the playthrough that I'd started, but once I'd finished it, that was it. I was done. I didn't really want to go back and see any other decisions. So that's the main reason why it's so low down on this list. But I mean, as a game in itself, it was very, very enjoyable. As I said, it was just the lack of replayability that made this game suffer that little bit.
A boat lost at sea with no sails, no no star to be seen.
Coming in at number 9, we have Steam World Build. Now, okay, what you're seeing here and what the video was only the demo, but it has recently dropped as a full release, so it qualifies for this list, and I have been playing it, and it is actually going to be this year's Christmas special. I've decided I've enjoyed it that much that, yeah, I'm going to bring it as this year's Christmas special, because as I was setting up and getting ready to do a one-off episode of it, they decided to do a Christmas update for free, and when I saw it, I thought, you know what, forget the one-off, we're going to make this the Christmas special. Now, you'd think, because of that, I would have ranked this higher. However, again, I have completed the entire game multiple times. In fact, the Christmas special has me completing the final map that I haven't done yet. And I went back even after that, but there was nothing else for me to do. It was just repeating the same tactics, the same planning over and over again, and I just lost interest. But I've even managed to get 100% achievements on it, and for me that's a rarity. I don't think I've got 100% on any other game. I literally only got the 100% to try and spend a bit more time on it to try and see if we could figure something out to enjoy. But no, once I'd done all the maps, I just didn't see any reason to go back to it. Not yet, anyway. Maybe in the future we'll see. But yeah, that's one of the reasons why it is as low down as it is. However, as I say, it was really enjoyable, and make sure you look out for the Christmas special this year, and you'll see what I mean about how much I enjoy playing it. Next, coming in at number 8, we have House Flipper 2. And what can I say about House Flipper 2 that I haven't said about number 1? Well, not much really, because it's number 1 for the most part. And this is one of the reasons why it is so far down. House Flipper 1 was brilliant, and even the early versions of it, there was quite a lot to do there, where at the moment there's not much you can do other than the main story. Now, on the video I put out, we had a look at the first 2 missions that the game gives you, because just like in the original, yeah, it wants you to do a couple of missions just to teach you the basics before it lets you go off and just do what you wish. However, House Flipper 2 doesn't have anything else. After the video I looked at it, the sandbox mode, I have no idea. By the looks of it, it's a case of you've got to build a house, although a lot of the things are not available to use, and then you put it online for somebody else to go and clean up. And the missions we've got that we see, while enjoyable, were clean and place things. 2 that are really could have been done in 1 mission. And going on to the next 2 missions that I've done off camera, yeah, they were pretty much the same. So I'm going to keep going. As I said in the video, we'll keep playing it because I enjoyed House Flipper, and hopefully sooner rather than later we'll get down to actually demolishing things and rebuilding them, and we'll see how it goes from there. And I know they're going to bring more out and add more to it. And that's what I'm hoping on. That is what I'm going to be waiting on before I do any more videos on it. But yeah, if you enjoyed House Flipper 1, you'll enjoy this. However, I would probably recommend waiting just until a bit more has been released. Wait for maybe the first DLC or something to come out and then give it a go. Because at the minute, yeah, there's no houses that you can just go and buy and do what you want with. The sandbox mode doesn't make any sense to me at the moment. And the main missions are, well, mainly cleaning up and placing items in the required room. And I don't even think you have to do that. I think if you want to, you can just pick it up and throw them anywhere and it still counts. So, yeah, it's a good game with a good base. It just needs a bit of polish. Next, coming in at number 7, we have Stellaris Nexus. And this one was a little bit tricky. Because, yes, I really enjoyed playing it. And I've had a bit of fun. And it is a relatively good game in itself. But after playing it, I just don't get the Stellaris feel from it. It's a really good tactical game. It's got great replayability. But it's just not Stellaris. If I want to play Stellaris, I will play Stellaris. This is... I don't want to say it's a cheap knockoff or anything like that, because it's not. It's a really good, in-depth, tactical game. It's just not what I was looking for when I was thinking about Stellaris. Give it a different name and, you know, fine, brilliant. No idea, wouldn't have any complaints. It's just that this was being compared in everything to playing Stellaris, a full game within an hour or two. And that's just not what this was. But leaving that aside, forgetting all about that, the tactics, the planning, everything you had to do, even the whole, race for the most points was quite enjoyable. Deciding, who to trade with based on who was going to benefit more out of it. Or, going to war with one person because even though they were lower down in the rankings than you, they were strategically better positioned. And yeah, that scramble for the centre world, great, brilliant, I enjoyed it. But as I say, it's down this low because, well, while it was really enjoyable and while there's so many good points, and even taking away the issue with it not being as advertised, it's a game that's been done before. There's several games out there that are along the same lines as this, and I never really got into them. I've played one or two of them. I can't think now for the life of me what one of them was. Was it Starlines or something like that? That was meant to be a similar thing, and I'd never got into that. I've got into this one and I've enjoyed it, but yeah, it's great if you've got a bit of time to sit down and kill, but it's not going to set the gaming world on fire. And next, coming in at a very respectable 6th, we have The Expance. And this was a game that actually surprised me. Now, I never heard of The Expance before playing this. I have actually started watching seasons 1 and 2, and I'm really enjoying it. But, yeah, before I played this, I'd never knew anything about it. I only found about this by an ad. So while I was watching that, it had quite a lot of action scenes in it, a lot of talking, and some really good action sequences. And I assumed, like you do, most of these were cutscenes. And to me, it looked like an action RPG or shooter or something along that line. And I thought this is going to be a really good game. And it's going to be something that I can really dig my teeth into and get going. I then got the game and realised it was Telltale. And that's when all my expectations and thoughts changed. Because obviously we all know what type of games Telltale do. And they are good at them. Don't get me wrong. The narrative games they do are really enjoyable. They have great characters, great voice acting, and a really great story. And all that holds true with The Expance. It is brilliant in every way, but I feel that it could have been better under a different genre. Now, don't get me wrong, this game, I've enjoyed it. You've seen the full series. In fact, I enjoyed it that much, I even did the DLC for it as well. What was a surprise that it actually had one. And to be honest, I think at the moment the DLC is the weaker point in it. But forgetting all that stuff, the game is brilliant. I've loved every part of it. But the one thing, a bit like with Stray Gods, the replayability isn't there. I just never got the urge to go back and try a different option. Now, don't get me wrong, I will be going back because I will be wanting to try and save Maya at some point. But it doesn't give me that urge that a lot of really good games get, that I've finished it, I want to go again. I want to try again for something better. But, as I say, the game is brilliant, the story is brilliant, the voice acting is spot on, and I can't wait to see if there's going to be more. Alright, here we go. This is now where some of the big games start hitting, and we're in at number 5, and this was a tough choice. I'm talking of Starfield. Now, Starfield had a lot of hype. I mean, it's the first brand new universe by Bethesda, and everybody was looking forward to it. And I'll admit, I was nervous at first because I wasn't sure whether I'd be able to play it. And the early games, we were fine. I didn't have too much of an issue with it. Voice acting was synced up. The gameplay was relatively smooth. I had a few little issues with my recording on OBS, but that was nothing to do with the game. And I thought I would be able to just power through them small little bits. Then we got to the first big city in Atlantis, and unfortunately my system couldn't hack it. I just could not play it. It was unplayable. And that's the frustrating thing. The game I found enjoyable what I was able to play. And since I've got my brand new system, I have been able to run around a bit in Atlantis, and there's a good chance that in the new year I'll be looking for a space to place it. I'm just waiting for one of the current series to end, and then we can put Starfield in its place and carry on from where we were up to. So that's the main reason this is as low down on the list as it is. I expected this to be my number one. I was going in with this saying this is going to be my game of the year. It's going to be amazing. I cannot wait. But unfortunately, the requirements for it were just too high. And for me, that's what let it down. Now, I have watched a few other videos of people's and saw what they've done. And I have noticed a few little, how can we put this? Cut corners. Some of the maps are identical. Some of the locations are the same. And some of the planets don't add up with what's on them and what it says the planet conditions are like. So it kind of hit a bit of a mixed bag with me. There's a lot of like, I'm so excited to get back into it and play it, and I am sure that yes, once I'm in, we'll be playing and everything will be fine and I will love it. But as I say, there's just at this moment in time a few too many things that just need a slight tweak. And obviously, yeah, the system requirements as well kind of put a downer on the game as well. But other than that, as I say, it's been really enjoyable and I cannot wait to get back into it in the new year. Next, we have in at number 4, Axon TD Uprising. Now, this one surprised me because it's a tower defense game that got me slightly addicted to it. Now, I know I've had a look at tower defense games in the past and I've enjoyed one or two of them. And, you know, I say they're alright, they're pretty good, but they never last. The rinse and repeat of trying to do the same bit over and over again just never compelled me to keep going. But there's something about this one. I'm not sure whether it's because you can control the map and edit it differently, or the fact that there's the campaign mode in it, or sometimes there's just something, the whole thing together just gives you that rush of wanting to do better next time. The frustration when you have a bad wave, or the elation when you have an amazing one. It's something I just can't describe, and that's the reason why this has become so high on the list this year. I have put hours and hours into this. I even enjoyed it so much, I made it the birthday live stream this year, and, well, we also how much I enjoyed it then. So, yeah, I don't know what else can say. A very enjoyable, addictive tower defense game that just ticks all the boxes to keep you coming back. Okay, this is it. These are the games you've been waiting for and judging to see if you've got them right. The top 3. My 3 games of 2023 I've enjoyed playing more than anything else. But, just like always, we're going to take a quick pause and do some honourable mentions. Because I've got a couple of games that I really wanted to put on. They were on this list for so long and just dropped off because I just couldn't find a reason good enough to bump them above the others. And it might be kind of cheating a little bit, but these games were at 11th and 12th respectively. I'm talking about Deepest Chamber and Blocky Dungeon. They were two games I really enjoyed playing this year, but for one reason or another, they just couldn't make it onto the top 10. It just missed out, and I wanted to put them on. But, as I say, Blocky Dungeon was a nice game, but it's more arcadey. So, it's nice for a quick 10-15 minute go, but it's not going to keep you going for a long time. And Deepest Chamber, while enjoyable, that sort of game is being done to death, no pun intended, but it was really fun to play. I've loved it. I'm still playing it, and it's just a shame I couldn't put them on this list. But back to the top 3. This is what you've come here for, and this is what you get. So, in at number 3, we have Star Trek Infinite, and this was another game I had been waiting on. Now, remember when I said Stellaris Nexus was not the Stellaris game I thought it was going to be? Well, Star Trek Infinite is. It's a slightly smaller galaxy, slightly more restricted in the choices you've got of empires, but the actual story arc, the reason it's all going on, is, if not minimal, it's enjoyable. But it's got all the Stellaris points in it. The planet management, the ship management, the diplomacy. It's got it all there. The economy balance that you need to get right, as well as keeping your pops happy. It is Stellaris with a Star Trek coat of paint on it and a few bits taken out. Now, I'm hoping that there's going to be more added to this in the future. There does seem to be a lot of talk coming from the devs about more, and I am really excited to see what comes of it, because, yeah, as I've said plenty of times, I love Stellaris. It's one of my favourite games of all time, and this is just extra for me. I have loved playing it, and I just wish I could play this more than I've been able to. And in at number 2, runner up, we have the Lamplighters League. Now, when I first heard about this one, I will admit I was very skeptical. I wasn't too sure about it. I expected good things because it's Paradox, but I was still very cautious when I saw this. But I am so glad I took that leap of faith. I loved Mutant Year Zero, and this is that, but 100 times better. There's the tactics, there's the stealth, there's the management, there's the XCOM sort of base that you need to make sure, your team's ready, and it just really puts everything together, and I don't know what else really I can say about it other than it just gets everything right. This is a game I can see myself playing over and over again. Once I've completed the playthrough that we're currently doing, I can see me coming back to this in my own time and playing it multiple times, and even possibly starting a new run almost straight after I finish the current one. I have really enjoyed everything about this. If I was going to be picky about it, and this is the very minor thing, it's the fact you can only have 3 characters with you on a mission, and unless I've not found it yet, you can only really send out 1 mission at a time. You can't say, okay, I've got 6 team members, I want to send 3 on this mission, 3 on that mission, and I'll play them straight after each other. So I'll do one map first, then I'll do the other one. Yeah, if you don't have enough going on, you seem to just have to leave them back at home to do nothing. And there does seem to be a nice large number of rostered characters to use. So that's the only thing if I'm going to be picky. But this game just gets everything right. Okay, and this is it. We are finally there. We have finally reached my number 1 game of 2023. The game I enjoy playing the most. The game that just has that special place in my heart this year and probably for several years down the line, if not permanently. This is a game that, while I'm not going to come back to straight away, I will be back playing it again. I've enjoyed it that much. I am, of course, talking about, drumroll please, Star Wars Jedi Survivor. Yes, Cal Kestis's sequel game is my number 1. This game was going to be high up all the way along. The fact it's a Star Wars game, the way the story has been put together, the progression of Cal, the voice acting, the graphics are really beautiful as well. BD just stands out in everything. Merrin, the betrayal, the fact that you don't get a redemption arc as well. I was so worried that right at the end we had the betrayal, but I was expecting right at the end for there to be a redemption, that, you know, he's sorry, he can't help it, he'll return back to the light. Nope, he was just being a dick and completely overlooked the obvious thing of what was going on. He could have saved his daughter without turning his back. But hey, what are we going to do about it? I mean, we've also got Merrin, and I loved Merrin for many, many reasons. She was absolutely brilliant. Grease, again, was amazing. I don't know what else to say. I can't give this enough praise. The level designs were brilliant. Even though some of them were very linear, it didn't feel it. A lot of games that are quite linear do feel like you're just running down a corridor and that's it. This didn't. It gave you the feel that you could explore, you could go off wherever you want, even if you couldn't. And there was a very logical reason why you couldn't. It wasn't a case of an invisible wall. There was a logical edge, whether it be a cliff or a chasm or who knows what. There was a reason, and I just loved everything about it. It was one of them games I didn't want to stop playing. There were many times I had to put a timer on myself when playing to make sure I didn't over-record an episode. There were many times I would end an episode and then go straight into recording the next one because I just wanted to keep on playing. There were so many as well different tactics depending on your blades, your stances, and the way you wanted to play it. What just give it so much flexibility. So there we have it, my personal top 10 games of 2023. I would love to hear your opinions on them. Do you agree with that list? What would you have on there instead? Is there anything on there you weren't expecting or you had missed yourself? Let me know down below. I would love to hear and chat with you about it. But that's it for this year. I guess now it's on to 2024 to see what we have in store and what is due out. I've already got my eye on a few little possible gems, so I will be keeping my eyes on them, as well as obviously looking for any other surprises that come along. But in the meantime, I've been Sank84. This has been my top 10 games of 2023. Thank you so much for listening. Look after each other, and until next time, goodbye.